together with Paul Pontallier from Château Margaux. Could you tell us a little bit about vintage 2010?
Yes, 010 is such an exceptional vintage, and we are so excited. So surprised. It just happened after another exceptional vintage, which was 09. So, well, and the reasons why 010 was so great have a lot to do, of course, with the weather, and we were just offered that magnificent weather again in 010, which was mainly characterized by the long drought from June until late after the harvest. And this is, we know these are ideal conditions, and they proved once again ideal in 010, especially because the temperatures were slightly cooler than 09, which made the wine more classic and fresher even than 09. So this looks like an ideal vintage for us.
I also understand that you have quite a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon in vintage 2010.
Yes, we have Cabernet Sauvignon, a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon in most vintages. This is usually between 80 something and 90% Cabernet. In the greatest vintages, the Cabernet Sauvignon is able to reach a level of excellence where the other varieties can't go. So obviously in 010 we had that extremely high level of Cabernet Sauvignon, 90%, only 7% Merlot, typical of the most extraordinary vintages.
Since you also produce a very good white wine, how was the vintage 2010 for the whites?
Well, it's almost embarrassing to say that it was also a great vintage for white, but this is almost easier to understand because not only drought is also very important for the maturation and the concentration of the white grapes. At the same time, the low temperatures of the summer, August, September, have helped preserving the flavors and the acidity, which is even more critical for the white grapes than for the red grapes. So 010 is most certainly one of the best vintages we ever made. We've been very cautious in trying to bring alcohol down, which means that we have a small quantity, but I think it's potentially the best vintage we have ever made.
Can you also tell us just the small history of Château Margaux?
It's very difficult to try to tell such a long history within a couple of minutes, but yes, Château Margaux has an extremely long history, has started somewhere in the Middle Age, but most importantly, it has a long history of producing excellent wines. And this is something which is absolutely key to what we are doing now. We started making wines probably 12th, 13th century, but our predecessors, as soon as the early 17th century, not only were making wine, but they had the project of making a wine of excellence. And that excellence was recognized very soon after. So that means that we have 400 years of search for excellence. And this is such an extraordinary privilege. Outside of our terroir, which is our number one gift and privilege, this is the second one. It certainly explains what we are now, and just because it helps us to better understand the terroir and better fine-tune all the techniques.
And making fantastic wines in 2010.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.